What happens after a civil law judgment? How to enforce? Have you ever wondered what steps follow a civil law judgment? Once a court issues a judgment, the winning party, known as the judgment creditor, needs to take action. Courts do not automatically collect money or enforce orders. The creditor must actively ensure that the judgment debtor complies with the court's decision. This often involves payment of money or following other court orders. The enforcement process kicks off when the judgment is final and not on hold due to an appeal or bankruptcy. If the judgment is for money, the creditor can start collecting the amount owed right away unless the court says otherwise. Keep in mind that unpaid amounts usually accrue interest at a specified rate. One of the first steps in enforcing a civil judgment is locating the debtor's assets. This is essential because enforcement often means seizing or garnishing assets. The creditor may need to find out what property, bank accounts, or income sources the debtor has. Courts provide tools for post-judgment discovery, allowing creditors to examine the debtor's finances and assets. Next, the creditor can request the court to issue an execution of judgment. This is a legal order directing a sheriff or other authorized officer to seize the debtor's property or funds. This may involve levying bank accounts to withdraw money directly. It could also mean seizing personal property, like vehicles or office equipment, which can then be sold at public auction to pay the debt. Additionally, wages or income can be garnished, meaning a portion of the debtor's earnings is withheld to pay the creditor, subject to legal limits. The creditor may also obtain writs of execution or similar court orders that authorize these enforcement actions. For instance, a writ may order a sheriff to seize property or evict a debtor from real estate if the judgment awarded possession. Enforcement procedures can differ based on where you are. Some states requiring the judgment to be registered with local courts before enforcement can begin. Others may ask the creditor to file a separate enforcement action or affidavit to support the request for seizure or garnishment. It is also important to note that laws often protect debtors from losing essential property. For instance, a debtor may keep personal property up to a certain value. Certain income levels may be exempt from garnishment to ensure that debtors can maintain minimum living standards. If a debtor refuses to comply with a judgment or enforcement order, the court may hold them in contempt. This can lead to penalties, fines, or other measures to encourage compliance. Enforcement actions typically involve court filings, hearings, and interactions with law enforcement officers like sheriffs or bailiffs. Court clerks often issue the necessary writs or orders for enforcement. However, the process can be delayed by procedural requirements, appeals, or debtor resistance. After a civil judgment, the judgment creditor must actively pursue enforcement using legal tools like executions, garnishments, and writs. The courtroom plays a vital role in issuing necessary orders and overseeing enforcement procedures while ensuring compliance with legal protections for both parties. The creditor must navigate these steps carefully to collect what the judgment awards.